Hi, my name's Mike, and if you're anything like me and you live within, say driving distance of the microcenter, then you're going to do exactly what I'm about to do and build yourself an Ender 3 Pro. Let's go ahead and dive right into this guy. Should be pretty straightforward. See what's inside of the old box here. I don't want to use that. We'll see if we can skip that part. All packaging materials off to the side. We'll put this on standby, just in case for some reason we can't figure this out. But you know what, team? I think that together we can figure this out. So this is the top bar, and you can tell because of these holes correspond to the screw holes that are in the Z uprights, whereas this guy has a bunch of random holes. I say random, they have purpose. Seemingly random holes. I've never been more tempted to use a razor blade, but I really don't want to butcher this thing's frame, because I kind of do want it to be a pretty printer. I don't want to intentionally ugly it if I don't have to. I have so many secondhand printers that I definitely do not need to add to that aesthetic. Oh, there's the Z-Rod. So we got the Z-Rod, nice and protected, and some heat shrink here. Got a little bit of lube on it. I mean, look at you buy. I would definitely recommend, like, now would be the time to do it. I'm not going to do it to this one, but while it's not installed, give this thing a good clean down with some rubbing alcohol and a toothbrush. Get all of the grease off of it and lube it up with some PTFE lube. That's going to save you a lot of headache in the future. The grease is going to attract dust, and it's not as forgiving of a lubricant as the PTFE lube. So you can save yourself a little bit of stress there in the future. And as for which one of these guys is going to go where on which side of this, like I said, the power supply mounting location is going to have two holes in it. So, yeah, you see that one has the two holes in the bottom, and the other one has two holes that are vertical. These are going to hold the Z-axis motor, and these are going to hold the power supply. So the Z-axis motor goes on the left-hand side of the machine when you are facing it. This setup here. This is going to rest like this. Power supply is going to bolt in like this. So, okay. That means that we need to make sure that these holes are on the inside path, not the outside. So underneath, we're going to have our two holes, and they're going to take the long boy screws for sure. thread these in. This, I don't believe, has an orientation. It's threaded on... Well, it's drilled all the way through, and it's threaded on both sides. So this shouldn't matter. I think I'm going to take this side and put this on the motor side, because it's got that ugly scratch in it, if this camera would focus. So that way we can cover up the ugly scratch. And I'm going to wait to tighten these bottom screws until I get the top bar installed. That way everything is hopefully as square as can be. Make sure I'm not pinching any of these wires here. Perfect. Definitely don't want to go pinching wires. Not a great thing to do. It's a very easy way to short things out and cause many, many, many issues. So we're going to get our top bar, which has an orientation. It has these larger drill outs here that allow the heads of the screws to fall into. The bottom side does not have that cutout, so you want to make sure that this is the top, and you use your smaller screws here to hold the whole thing together. Not your smallest, but you know what? Whatever the manual calls for size. There are these big screws, but not as long as the ones for the bottom. Let's explain it. They're M5 or something. I don't look. The bag says it too. I'm just really, really lazy, and I have no foresight to not just rip up the bag and throw it over there in a pile. Trying to make sure everything's kind of lined up. Make sure your extrusions are not rotated like mine just was. I don't know how much play you can see on the camera there, but I'll take the handheld cam here. You can see how much twisting you can actually get on this. If this is too twisted, then your roller guys, that's going to be rolling up and down on these, is going to be twisted at that angle as well, which is going to give you some problems. So you want to make sure that your extrusions are nice and flush with the edge of the other extrusion. You can, feel it with your finger, make sure that there's no lip there, rock it back and forth until you get that thing. Oh no, I'm a dummy. I'm a big dummy. See, this is why you instructions. Yeah, I gotta take the top bar back off. So yeah, you can't really get these on unless you... I mean, I could take one of the wheels off, I guess, but that would be a tragic waste of time. Yeah, you gotta take the top bar off. Okay, so yeah. Don't ever listen to me. Read your manual. This is going to go just like that. Okay. There it is here. Oof, that's tight. No, never mind. There we go. Okay. Big chunky one goes on the left-hand side. Okay. Maybe I should do the power supply really quick, just so I can get it off the table. I don't know if that's like a valid complaint, but I do in fact want to get it off the table. Okay. So... yeah, okay, I gotta put this on now. That's a interesting design choice, but I guess we'll just roll with it. My complaint is you can't get to these two screws on the left-hand side when the machine is built. So you have to go through the back of the extrusion here. Not the extrusion, the stamped metal piece here to bolt this guy together. Again, not a super complaint. Just not my favorite. I like to be able to get to these screws for gantry adjustments in the future, but again, I guess it's not that big of a deal. You just want to make sure you get these guys very, 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 very accurately lined up before you slide it in. Let's get our Z installed. Our Z motor and stuff. Just to hold this. And then I will reinstall the stopper. So I'm tired of having this flop around everywhere. There you go. Okay. Minor technical difficulty there. What do you say we get the LCD mounted, huh? Yeah, I'm down. Let's get the LCD mounted. Alright. Are we missing anything important? That's what I want to know. Like, what step have we skipped so far? I think we're on the right track. We're going to stay on this path. Okay, yeah, no, I think we're good. Plug our LCD into EXP1, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to have a fun time together watching the LCD not power on. If it's not EXP1. But shouldn't damage anything if it's not. Not too worried. Just tucking in the LCD cable into the motherboard box here. We're just building stuff. We're having fun. Is there anything else that needs to be done? Let's get this Z-switch hooked up, I guess. And we'll go on to getting the belt put on, getting minor adjustments taken care of, and getting the machine wired up also, because that's somewhat important. It needs its power and stuff. Let's get this tensioner installed. This is going to go this side. Loosen up its hardware first. Get it to fit in the rail. Take our fancy belt here. Put it inside the channel. And then move that over. And our one side of the belt. And the other side, we need to feed through the housing. Okay, you need to make sure it goes on top of the pulley. Which actually, but I think you can see it. Okay, so yeah, the belt's going to go over top of the pulley. And then you need to feed it right back through underneath of the pulley. Doing a very bad job at feeding it through underneath of the pulley here. Get myself some more belt slack here. There we go. Again, doing this by feel is not exactly recommended. Okay, come on, there we go. Hook the belt back in. Should be nice and smooth. These are probably this size. Am I wrong? I'm right. Okay. I'm gonna take a wrench. And I'm gonna put it in between. It's a little bit better on camera. I'm gonna put it in between the roller wheel and the frame extrusion here. And I'm going to use this to leverage this tensioner not only out and away, so the belt gets tightened, but I'm also going to use it to pull down, which helps line the belt up a little bit better with the machine. It's going to tighten it more in the V-rail, and then it's going to keep it from rubbing on the bottom. That is way too tight. Belt tightness should be like... I don't have an explanation for you. Belt tightness is such a by feel thing for me. It should have a little bit of a twang to it, but it shouldn't be like a guitar string. You should be able to like twist it maybe all the way around once. Yeah, I'd say, you know, if you can get one twist in it, that's probably good. You're not like a forced twist either. Like, you know, just a little bit, just enough. Get the second screw tightened up here. Okay, let's get rid of this problem. We're going to finally put the top bar on. We need to get this mounted. Just going to use these M5s. Install our fitting on our extruder. Make sure that's tight but not cranked, because it is a plastic extruder and we do not want to crack that guy. That would be a disaster. Alright. This guy nice and installed. Make sure the wires are properly set up here, lengthwise. We're going to install I believe the smaller of the clips goes up here, right? Yeah, okay. And then the larger should already be pre-installed on top of this, but it's not. Okay, well, we're going to put the larger clip on top of the heatsink, or the hot end. Alright. So this axis, I think, is a little too tight. I'm going to loosen up the roller underneath the back side here. You have your 3 wheels and your x-axis here. So you have these two and the bottom one. The bottom one, there's going to be an adjustment nut. You're gonna have to trust me. In here, there's a 10mm eccentric nut that you can use to make this either very loose or very tight. So these wheels are very, very easy to rotate now because I just loosened this eccentric nut a lot. So I'm gonna tighten it until just start to feel resistance on the 2 wheels. I should still be able to spin them while this is, you know, held in place. Should be able to do like little burnouts, but make sure it's nice and smooth after it's tightened, which it is, which is great. We're gonna do the same on the bed and check to make sure that these are, oh my goodness, these are way over tightened. I get it, okay. Tight, the too tight is better than too loose, but like, geez, man, calm down. Whoever assembled this thing was angry. Last thing I'm going to do is get this problem solved, which is a mix of getting rollers tightened and then getting screws tightened. This is way loose, so I'm going to adjust this guy. Alright, before we go any farther with that, I need to make sure that these screws are not fully tight, and this is for the reason that I was going to say earlier, or we're going to bring up now. So we're going to loosen this up just a little bit here, so that this bar and this plate can kind of shift around a little bit. What this is going to allow us to do is get these wheels nice and lined up, and then tighten the bar, because it is important that these wheels have equal tension on them. That's why there's a little bit of play, so you can get everything lined up nice and perfect, and then tighten it down. This is not a great angle to do this at, but it's okay. Sheesh. Guess they still had these Z-switches set up for when they were using glass beds, because there's a lot of bed to be brought up here. All I'm doing, which you should be able to see, sort of, is I'm lining the nozzle up to the bed in the corner. And then I'm just loosening the knobs to do a corner tramming. Where, as you'll see, it's set a lot leveling, which I'm trying to get myself out of the habit of using. Leveling is not the appropriate term. We need to stop using it collectively as a group, because it confuses a lot of people still. So I'm going to get this a little bit too high, and then I'm going to live level down. Because I always like to err on the side of caution with my bed leveling. I'd rather not tear into the bed. I'd rather have to, you know, raise it up a little bit, or lower it as I'm printing, rather than gouge into the bed at the start of the print. Before I plug this in, I'm going to verify that the voltage switch on the power supply is set to 110, and it is not. So if you buy a Ender 3 from Microcenter, you're going to have a power switch on the side of the printer here, or not the printer, the power supply. It says 230 or 115. If you're in the US, or pretty much anywhere that uses 115, make sure you're in 115. 115 applies to 110, 120, and 115, obviously. Here we go. Well, I'm done. And it's probably XP3. Would you look at that? Okay. We have Ender. I have an Ender. I have an Ender 3 Pro. I have it. It's right there. Now let's print with it. So all I'm doing now is I'm adjusting the knobs while it's printing to make sure that it's got just enough smush. Forgot it's going to do a very, very thick raft, so it's going to need a bunch of smush. Okay, well, thank you for sticking through this entire process so far. I'm going to go ahead and let this thing print, and when it's done, I'll come check up on it, and we will conclude this video. But hopefully, if you've made it this far, then you should just be printing, and you shouldn't have to watch any more how to assemble your Ender videos, because it'll be assembled and you'll be printing with it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned a little bit about assembling your Ender and what not to do. I hope you've laughed a little bit and enjoyed the content here. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully this turns out pretty well on the upload. I'm going to do a video on my Unity Shroud tomorrow, assuming that everything goes well with this upload for editing and all of that nonsense. Make sure that all the light levels and sound levels and everything are all fine. I'll check on this print when it's done, and I'll let you guys know how it turned out. I'll see you guys then.